Hey, Coach. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Mark.
Please begin whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Just a few thoughts. Practice has been okay this week. It hasn't been great. I've been disappointed. I thought at this point we would come out and have a great practice. And this time last year against Mercer's, when we really finished strong, we got better in that game. We then beat State and then beat Temple and ended up on a real high. And we've been very inconsistent this week. So I am not happy with the response, especially after the way we finished the Notre Dame game. We should have been really excited about getting back to work and getting better. So we've still got to mature and grow up some. Proud of the 17th ranking right now. I thought it was obvious to the college football playoff committee that we played well enough at times to hang in there and possibly even beat a number 2 team in the country. So proud of them. Those polls are more important than any of the other polls. In fact, I think the only reason we have the others right now is for publicity and media, because there's not resumes with those. By the time you get to this point in the year, people know who's played well and who hasn't. So, but they obviously recognize some effort that we had. We've got a senior day, so I'm going to tell you every senior that's going to senior day today, and those that aren't. I know you all get excited about names, so we can give these to you. Michael Carter, Austin Chestnut, they will all go through senior day on Saturday. Austin Chrisman, Trevor Collins, Matthew Flint, Tamon Fox, Zach Gill, Cooper Graham, Mason Lawrence, Daz Newsom, Tabechi Wakeji, Patrice Renee, Jace Reuter, Noah Ruggles, Chaz Surratt, and Garrett Walston. All those guys have graduated, and they will not be back. They'll be either graduate transfers or they'll be going to the NFL or in the workforce in business. The juniors, a couple of juniors that right now we have Coach Moody and Paul Pogge talking to about their status in the draft, insurance, if they would want to come back, where we think they would go, showing them exactly what kind of money it is at each level in the draft, just to try to educate them. We would never tell a junior he should come back. Our job is to educate them on exactly where they would be and what they would get. And then we go from there. And that's very, very important. But Bo Corrales and Tyrone Hopper are coming back for another year. And that's because the NCAA gave them the right to do that, and they wanted to. So both of them have told us that they are returning, and it was okay for us to share that with you today. You look at the senior class, they've been really, really important to us. It's very, very difficult in a transition for them when Coach Fedora and his staff brought them in. And then they had a certain offense, a certain defense, and special teams coaches that they dealt with, maybe even 2 or 3 different ones in some cases, like Patrice. And these guys have really stepped up and done well. I'll just mention a few of them here since this is the last time before Saturday. Chaz Surratt's just an amazing story to be a 5-star quarterback. And then when I walk in, come in and say, I want to play linebacker. And I said, why? And he wants to be an NFL linebacker. And he played so good against Notre Dame. I don't think there's any question he'll be in the NFL next year. And we're really, really proud of him. And with people opting out all over the country, here's a guy that could have opted out. But he said, I want to play. I need to play more linebacker. I haven't played enough, and I love my team. And so he's hung in there and done a great job. Michael Carter's been special as a leader. Very unselfish. He's been special in special teams, but he's meant so much to this team off the field and in the locker room. And I'm really, really proud of his leadership. Daz Newsom's turned into one of the best slots in the country. He was one guy that we said really stood out against Notre Dame, but he stood out against everybody. And we really wish him good luck as he heads toward the NFL. Tamon Fox, I think, is the 5th place of all-time sack leader in our school history. He, again, has been tough. He's been smart. He's been a really good leader for us. We're proud of him. Garrett Walston has stepped up, and we had a number of tight ends last year that all graduated. He's come back and really been a plus for us this year. And we want to continue to get the ball to the tight end and have him be an important part of this offense. But Garrett's done that this year for us, and he's also done a good job blocking. And Patrice Renee, for Patrice to come back and then go through a knee operation and continues to get stronger and fight through that. But Patrice has been a really, really good player for us too. I'm sure I might have missed some, but those are ones that just jumped out and got my attention early. There's the shifting of the schedule is interesting in the ACC, but I do want to applaud again the ACC Commissioner John Swafford and the presidents and chancellors and athletic directors in this league. I think they've done it better than anybody. They've made it where we can play. We've made it through the season, and everybody's gotten enough games to have helped these young people. People continue to ask, was it better to play or not play? These young people have been so much safer on our campuses with the nutritionist, with the doctors, with the trainers, with the testing every week than they would have been in most cases if they had gone home. And their mental health is much better. They've enjoyed it. It's been a long year for everybody. It's been a tough year for all of us. But I do think that after sitting back and looking back, starting early was important for the ACC, and it's helped us. Some of the leagues now are fighting to get games in that delayed. So I have to applaud in looking back, because none of us knew, but I have to applaud the ACC, the presidents, the chancellors, and the athletics directors in this league for the way they've managed maybe the toughest year ever for college football. And they've done a great job of that. And last, and very importantly, as a father, my daughter Catherine is on Jeopardy Friday night at 7:00. So we need everybody to watch and pull for her. So all these parents can pull for their kids in sports. I can pull for mine in Jeopardy. So I'm not smart enough to be on Jeopardy. I'm glad she is. So pulling for Catherine. Her name is Catherine Ryan because she married Luke Ryan. So and we have 2 wonderful grandchildren with those 2 out in LA. So questions?
Great. Thanks, Coach. For the group, if you have a question, please use the raise hand function, and we will get to you momentarily. And our first question today.
Hey, Mark, I gave them a lot of information today, too. They should be pumped.
No question about it. The Jeopardy thing was great. Greg Barnes, we'll begin with you.
Good afternoon, Mac. With the college football playoff rankings, with North Carolina now being number 17, moving up, shows a lot of respect to the program, but it also kind of sets up these next 2 weeks for North Carolina to be able to play their way potentially into the Orange Bowl. Just curious your thoughts on that possibility and how you approach that with the team.
Greg, the biggest thing is that I've told them it's the opportunities are out there. Last year we were sitting here and had to win all the last 2 games to get to a bowl, and they did that. So we're in a much different position right now than we were last year, and it shows the tremendous progress that we've made over a short period of time. The question is they just had opportunities against a great team in Notre Dame, and we didn't finish. So Miami's a top 10 team. So we've got the same challenges in 2 weeks that we had last Friday. And are we going to do our job on Saturday? And are we going to be ready to go on the road, which we haven't done very well? It'll probably be a night game, I would think. And have we improved enough to put ourselves in the position to be considered for an Orange Bowl? All those are question marks that aren't answered yet. And right now, we haven't proven that we deserve that. So we're making progress. We are getting more respect, but can we finish? Can we play a full game as a team? And we haven't done that yet. So that's a question mark that'll be answered here in the next 2 weeks.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go over to Andrew Jones.
Hey, Coach, given that you spent most of your life in this sport, can you put into perspective what Chaz has done making the position change, and not just doing it, but he's going to probably end up playing in the NFL at the new position?
Yeah, Andrew, it's been absolutely amazing. In my 40-something years, I don't know, 45, whatever it is, we had a quarterback named Jeff Hammond at Southern Miss that ended up being a war hero. He ended up being the athletics director there too, but he moved to safety and started and played really well for us. The only time I've ever seen a move like that. So for Chaz to be able to come in and embrace the change and be physical and work out and have instincts, and it's just been amazing for me to watch. I do think when he wasn't making as many plays early and some people were getting frustrated with him, we were getting blocked in the offensive line, and he needs to be freed so he can run. And he's learned to take people on. But the other night we played much better up front, and it freed him, and it just shows you what he could do against the best team we've played. So I'm so excited for him. I can't wait to watch him in the future. For both brothers to be drafted this year is going to be really cool for that family, and it's a wonderful family. He's already gotten his degree. His brother's the same. It is just an absolutely wonderful story. And check it out too. I got a text a few minutes ago that Aaron Crawford is getting his debut with the Ravens this afternoon at 3:40. So that's another cool story if he is. So check that one out.
Also, you've told the story a couple of times that when you first got to Carolina, that you asked about number 8 and wanted to see if number 8 was going to be back. Has Michael met your expectations or perhaps even exceeded them?
Yeah, he's exceeded them. It's funny. You all have a team. I didn't have a team when I was at ESPN and ABC. So I watched 8 games at a time. So you would just sit there and try to find something you wanted to talk about that people would be interested in at halftime or at the end of the game. And then you would basically email or text your producer, here's a play. And I kept seeing, I think Carney, wasn't he 54 at that time? Yeah, Malik Carney. I kept seeing him on defense, and I kept seeing Michael Carter on offense. And those were the guys. Every time I turned up, Malik was in the backfield making plays, and Michael had the ball on a flare or a draw or something where he was making a lot of yards. So as I kept looking at it, I just thought that guy's really good. So absolutely the first question I asked Bubba, are 54 and 8 back? That was the only 2 numbers I knew for sure. And he said 54 is gone, 8's back. And he said he's a sophomore. And I said, yes. And the thing Michael has done for us is as valuable as he's been on the field, Andrew, he's been more valuable off the field in the locker room and with leadership. And you think there's a lot of difficulty building up trust when you change jobs. The new guy coming in, they don't know you, they don't know the staff. We were able to keep Robert Gillespie, it's one of the best coaching moves I've ever made. We've protected the ball. We protect well. He has done an excellent job with our running backs, but they trusted him and they wanted him to be here. And then Michael has been probably the guy on this team that I've gone to the most to say, what do you think? And who should we talk to about this? He really leads the leadership committee. But we have a really good relationship, and he's helped me a lot manage this team and get us where we need to go. I will go ask him questions before I'll ask our staff.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, let's go over to CL Brown, please.
Hi, Mac. With the announcement that you just made on players who are going to not be back and who's coming back and everything, how does this shape your recruiting moving forward? We talked at the beginning of the year of, this NCAA giving the waiver and everything and how that might affect probably the class of 22 more than anything else. But do you feel more comfortable now, like with this knowledge? I mean, how do you feel like it's going to shape things?
CL, we have no clue, very honestly. The NCAA has not told us yet if they will give us any relief for the 22 class. I would have to think they would. because right now we would probably have 8 to 10 guys we could sign. At max, we'll probably have 8 to 15. I think we've got 17 this year. So when you look at it, the NCAA's got to really look at a lot of different scenarios. There's no question that people will have more than 85 next year. I mean, that's a given. The question is, because they gave all of the players on the team a year back, should we have some relief in the 22 class to try to keep your classes balanced? It won't hurt anybody really until that group would become seniors. So if some people sign 4 guys, you've got a 4-person senior class. So I think that's what the NCAA's really got to look at and judge and gauge, and you've got to look at the financial situation for ADs and presidents and chancellors, because that's tough right now too. But also we've got to be fair to the 22 recruits and making sure that they have the same opportunities to get scholarships across the country with like the kids have in 20 and 21.
And a not so serious question. Have you ever helped your daughter, or have you helped her prepare for this Jeopardy appearance with random trivia questions or anything like that?
I helped her like I help great players. Good job, sweetheart. That's great. In fact, I was calling her some and talking to her about the preparation, and she would go off to a hotel for a couple of days by herself, and her husband and children would be at home. And I said, how do you prepare? And they just give you a group of different things that you might get asked about, and she just tries to go back and study all of those. So it's amazing to me. I'm so proud. Very few people get chosen for that show, and she'll do a good job. So I'm proud of her.
Thanks, Coach.
But I haven't been able to help her. And even worse, CL, she knew not to ask that, which is kind of bad, but that is true. And let me say, Mark, before we go to the next one, there will probably be some other guys on the team that will transfer after this semester that haven't graduated because they're not getting enough playing time, because we're in conversation with a few of those guys now just to see if they want to transfer or not. So there could be a few more as well.
Okay, let's move over to Dina King, please.
Hey, Coach, I'm piggybacking on recruiting. It's going really good for you guys. What's the effects of not getting those kids on campus to see a game against Notre Dame or NC State? Have you heard any feedback on that?
Dana, we were lucky that we were way ahead with these guys in recruiting. So since most of them are in our footprint, they came last year. So they've been on campus, they've seen games, they haven't seen the change in facilities, but all of the guys that have committed to us have been on campus, and I met with them before the pandemic. So we were lucky we were that far ahead. Probably 3 or 4 guys that I think we would have been able to get didn't make it to campus, and they kept saying, I'm going to come in December. I'm going to come in August. I'm going to come in September. And then when the NCAA continued to delay the dead period, they said, Coach, I've already been to this other school. I can't wait. I'm going to go ahead and make my decision. So I think, Dina, it's going to change everything for the 22 class more than the 21 class. We haven't had most of those guys on our campus. We've had a few of them in camp. As of right now, they still can't come to campus and meet with us until like April 15th at least. That means with the dead period, we will not be able to go see them play. So the evaluation process is going to be harder. I always think it's very important for the parents to be able to evaluate me and their position coach in person. We have to do all that on Zoom now. And we'll be making evaluations off video because we're not going to have them in camp as it stands right now, but we're probably not going to get to watch them play in high school. And this will be the first time that's ever happened.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I do think the 22 class may be more affected than the 21 class by the pandemic.
All right, our next question comes from Luke Buxton.
Coach, obviously a big game today in the Maui Invitational Final. UNC Texas, your two programs facing off. Carolina's lost the last 7 to 8 versus Texas, going back to 2011. I need your best college game day prediction for the outcome of the game today.
Well, Luke, you're really a jerk to ask me that question, because those are two of my best friends, and I mean it in a nice way, just like with Ross. It was a loving response when Ross asked me the coach speak question. Didn't want me to have coach speak the other day. Luke, the Shaka is kind of become a younger brother to me since he came to Texas. He's such a great person, and he's fought it, and he's had everything happen tough for him. He's had a young guy with cancer that, thank goodness, is doing well now. And it looks like their team's really good. I didn't get to see the Indiana game. I saw a little bit of their other game, their opener. I've seen both of our games, and I think we're really good. We've got a great season ahead of us, and I love all the guys that Roy's got coming in. So what I'm going to do is I T-vote it. I'll be at work. I'm not going to look at my phone. I'm not going to look at the score. And I love both of these guys. Roy is one of my best friends, and Shaka's been a wonderful friend for the last 4 or 5 years. In fact, he came to our Wake Forest game last year, and I talked to Shaka probably. I talked to him before and after every game, but he knows in this one that I've got to be for Carolina. So he understands that. Our children were such Carolina basketball fans. North Carolina played Texas 2 or 3 times while I was in Austin. And our children, our boys, 2 sons, would say, "We want to go to the game. Can you get us tickets?" And I said, "Who are you going to pull for?" And they said, "We're pulling for North Carolina." And I said, "Well, I can't get you tickets. I'm going to be sitting next to the athletics director at Texas and the president. You can't do that." And I said, "And you also can't wear blue." They said, "Then we're not going." And I said, "Well, fine. We're not getting you tickets." And even my 10-year-old grandson's the same way. Little Tyler said, "Pops, I want to go see the Texas North Carolina game." And I said, "Bud, you can't wear your North Carolina now. I work here. I mean, we got to handle this right." And he said, "Then I'm not going." So, but it'll be fun because I love both these guys. And the one thing about basketball, you can play a lot early, and a loss in basketball doesn't count like a loss in football. A loss in football is a killer. I mean, it's just whoever, whenever, and whoever, and whatever you lose to, your fan base is shocked. You shouldn't have done it. It was awful. In basketball, it's kind of like baseball. I remember Augie Garrido, who won, I think, 6 national championships in baseball, got beat by Dallas Baptist or somebody, and I thought he'd be crushed. And he said, "Boy, what a good learning experience for us." And I thought, doesn't work that way in football. That's not us. So it'll be a fun game this afternoon, and one I look forward to watching tonight.
Sorry for putting you on the spot, but I appreciate the answer.
Thanks, Luke. I hadn't thought about it, but it was a great question, and it did put me on the spot.
Okay, let's go over to Luke Leiden, please.
Hey, Coach. Luke Lydon here with WFM News 2 out of Greensboro. Appreciate your time. I'm curious, ever since your team jumped up to the top 5 within the AP top 25 back in October up to this point, how satisfied have you been with the growth of the program, especially coming into this final stretch of the season?
Luke, I thought that the top 5 rating was probably unfair to us because a lot of the other leagues the 2 other leagues weren't playing. A lot of the teams weren't playing. So it wasn't a fair evaluation. I was proud that North Carolina football was considered, at least in the group that was playing, a top 5 team, and then disappointed the way we responded at Florida State. So we weren't ready to handle that yet. So I've said our publicity's probably been a little bit ahead of our program, but we're catching up. We're doing better. I did think there were some times that we were in the Notre Dame game that I thought we were going to win, and we shouldn't. They're really good, and they're better than we are right now. But we had our chances, and that's a great measuring stick for us. And we need to come out and we need to play well on Saturday, and then we need to see where we are again at Miami in 2 weeks. So, but I am proud of where we're headed. You win games with quarterbacks, and we've got some good ones. Sam's been unbelievable in giving us a chance to move forward fast. And then you win with lines of scrimmage. And we've got to continue to get stronger and better in both lines of scrimmage. Because when we've had tough games, it's been about the lines of scrimmage for both. I think we've got 15 sacks out of our 28 sacks this year in the 3 games we lost. And those are the 3 worst rushing games. So it shows you exactly what we have to do to get better. And we know that.
All right, well, let's close out today with Art Chansky. Go ahead, Art.
Art, you're muted.
Oh, I'm unmuted.
There you go. Art, you got
it. Mac, by my unofficial calculation here, you've had 7 different color combinations on your uniforms. I think you've only repeated the combinations twice. That's, for someone who's watched Carolina football play, white pants, light blue jerseys, blue helmets for 100 years, I think that's unbelievably cool. I'd like to know who decides? Do the seniors decide that? And then I got another question about what you said to Ron Stutz the other morning about what they did with the slogans and names on the back of the jerseys. Can you answer those two?
I can answer both of them, Art. The first one is we have a 23-member leadership committee that's chosen completely by the players. I have a right to take one off if he messes up. I have a right to put one on if he got enough votes to be considered, and I think he should be on there. But I didn't. The 23 players that they picked are guys that they voted on, and I'm the only one that sees the votes. And they have to put their name on who they voted for because I want to know who and why they voted for. And then those guys make a lot of decisions. And some of the decisions are when we could go to a movie on Friday night. Do you want to go to a movie or not? Some of them are, would you rather practice outside or inside if it's rainy or cold and we need to do this? And they're discussions. And I've told them that I make final decisions, but they make suggestions. One of the things that we decided is that they could determine what uniforms we wear. So on Wednesday of every week, the leadership committee, and it's got a lot of seniors on it, they come to the equipment manager. I don't even ask them, and they tell them exactly what they want to wear and the colors that they want to wear and why. And I didn't pick the throwback, the retro uniforms that the Dre Bly team wore because I didn't want to push something I had done in the past here, but the kids wanted that. And they decided that last year. So they get to pick the retro uniform and Nike makes it. And then they pick the exact colors and color combinations that we wear. Am I always in agreement with it? No, but I made a decision to let them do it. And it's really, really important to them. And they study it and they talk about it and they lay it out every week. They put a whole lot into it. As far as the names on the back of the jerseys, this summer, we were obviously having a lot of worldwide social injustice. And the week that basketball, NBA protested, I think baseball might have stopped a night, women's basketball stopped, hockey stopped. Our guys were talking about the state of our country and what should we do and what should we say. And it's very, very difficult for a lot of young people, especially our young Black players, have a tremendous amount of pressure from friends and families that say, you've got exposure. You have a message that you can send. You can send a strong message because of who you are and being an athlete. And we need you to step up and do that. Well, in a lot of cases, maybe it would hurt a young player's draft status if he got out there too far. These guys aren't LeBron James. In another case, maybe it hurts their opportunity to get a job when they get out because people don't feel the same as they do. So what I said at that time was, I'll say what you all need to say. So you tell me. And some of the players said, why don't you say what you want to say? And I said, I'm white. I have never had prejudice against me. I am white privilege at its finest. So I need to know what you want to say and what you feel, and I'll say it. So Jeremy Sharp, our director of communications, actually went to the players and coaches and said, what would you like to say? And they wrote down this list of things that they thought were very, very important. Jeremy and I might have changed the wording on a few, but we didn't change the message. And we had the video, and that was part of it. And then the NCAA said to all teams across the country, you can put a patch on the front of your jersey, and you can put anything you want on the back for a name, and you can do it every game. Our guys decided to do it for one game, and I think it was Charlotte. And then the Charlotte game got canceled, so they said, well, let's do it for Notre Dame. And that was done back in September. And then we had a committee. It wasn't me, an administrative committee that looked at the things that they were going to put on the back to make sure that they were appropriate. It was funny. Don Chapman put his high school. I think it's Southwest on his back because he wanted to represent his high school. He wanted all the kids in his neighborhood and his high school to understand that they could go to college and do this. Ben Kiernan puts an Irish word, I think, for equality on the back of his jersey. I think even the embassy in Ireland retweeted it. Christopher Holliday put Harvey Gant, H. Gant, on the back of his for his grandfather. Kurian Johnson lost his dad a couple of years ago. He put his dad's last name. He put his dad's name on the back of his jersey. So I didn't see all of them. I saw some of them. It was funny. Emery Simmons put tolerance on the back because his number was 0. So he wanted 0 tolerance. So I thought the guys really tried. Somebody put a Bible verse, I think Brian Anderson, on the back. So a lot of guys did different things. Some had messages for social justice. And then we allowed them to keep the label off their jersey after the game. So it was a one-time thing where we felt like that as people were talking about protesting and there was anger across the country, that we needed to allow our guys to use their voice and use it in a positive way, use it in a classy way, and then move forward with it. And they did that.
It was really cool. Thank you. One follow-up on the uniforms is that I'm surprised that you haven't gone full Navy like you did with Duke last year. Is that might be, and you don't know, I guess you don't know, but could that, why wouldn't Chaz Surratt lead that? Because that was that game.
I think it's a good thought. Weirdly enough, that's Sally's favorite uniform. She said, I want Navy and Navy. I said, go talk to the players. I don't ask them. When we walk into our meeting tomorrow, we'll have a team meeting tomorrow. They will have a mannequin dressed with the uniform that we're going to wear on Saturday. And that's the first time I will have seen it or heard from it. And those players, they love surprising us when we come in, but it's really, really important to them that's an area where they have input.
Thanks.
And our colors are, thank you, Art. Our colors are so good. They're the best colors in the country. So just about anything they put together looks good.
Well, you've made it the cool place, just like your goal. So
thank you, Art.
Well, Coach, I think we've touched on everything today. We appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Great. Mark, any other questions about the senior class or anything? Are we clear with all of that? Is everybody good, or did you need any other clarification on the way out? Everybody good?
I got some.
Okay,
Yes.
Ross, go ahead, Ross.
Yeah. You haven't said anything about Grayson Atkins. Do we know his status?
I'm sorry. I should have. Grayson is coming back. That's why it's good that you asked. So he has got 2 years with graduate school anyway. But he is the other one, which I should have written that down. I'm sorry I didn't.
Hey,
but
I'm hearing back.
No, Grayson Atkins is coming back. So he will be in that list with Tyrone Hopper and Bo Corrales.
And then I'm not sure if you mentioned Garrett Walston. I don't have his name written down. Did you mention him?
Garrett is leaving.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, he is a senior and leaving. Is there anybody else that I missed or that you have questions about? Because this is important. Yes.
I would ask, what was the reasoning for Hopper and Bo? Was there anything they told you that you can tell us about that? Just out of curiosity.
No, Ross, we can probably ask them in time.
Okay.
Tyrone's already in graduate school, so I would think he wants to finish. I would think I've talked to Bo more about it than Tyrone. Bo didn't have the year he wanted because of his injury, and he's going to get it fixed. So he should be back for spring practice. And I think Bo wants to have a chance he thinks we'll be good next year, and he wants to have a chance to have a really good year. So I would think that would be the two reasons. I have not recruited them. I think it's very important for guys to do what they think's best. So what we did is we had their position coach sit down with them and say, here's where we think you are. Here's where you'll be if you come back. But we didn't say, we really want you to come back. Come on, man. That's not fair for them. And a couple have gone back and forth, and they may even change their mind if they want to go to graduate school, but they'll have to do that by January 19th. If they don't go to spring, then they can't be eligible for the fall because of number of hours from what I've been told. But as of right now, these are the choices that they've made, understanding that some of that could change. And that's why we're so lucky to have Coach Moody, who is working really, really hard to try to find as much about their draft status for seniors or juniors, because if a senior finds out he's not going to be drafted, he could still possibly decide to change his mind and come back.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Did I miss any other names? We good?
I'm not seeing. Yeah, I think we're good, Coach.
Okay, y'all have
Thanks,
a great
Coach.
week, and we'll see you Saturday. Be safe.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Oh, Mark, one other thing that might be of interest, and I'll be quick with it. The NCAA or the ACC, I think, changed the drug or the virus testing now. So because of the game in Tallahassee that Clemson went to and didn't get to play, and then Virginia went to and didn't get to play, we will now start being tested on Thursday. So we got tested today. We'll be tested tomorrow instead of Friday. So I feel like, and you can check with the ACC office, I feel like this is obviously being done so we won't have teams go to a site and be told at the site they're not going to play. So all of the COVID tests will be back before a team would get on a bus or get on a plane to go to the opposing team site to play. So that is a huge change for all of us. Now, so we were tested Monday, Wednesday, today, and we will be tested tomorrow. I don't know if next week they start testing us on Sunday and Tuesday and Thursday. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't think now in the ACC, at least, you will see any other teams going to a site and not being able to play. Those decisions will be made before they get on the bus or the plane to go. And I'm sorry, I should have said that earlier as well. Any questions on that? Because that's significant. I mean, that's a huge change. And I'm not sure. I know why we're doing it now. I guess they figure that you can test a little bit earlier before the games. I'm not sure, but that would be a question that you'd probably want to ask the ACC. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Bye-bye.